you've mentioned that you got passionate about bands and about music and all of that. And I'd be curious to hear like how did this exactly happen in terms of whether there was an influence from family or friends to introduce you to the type of music that got you really into it. And also, like, um, how did you start playing bass? How did you, just start playing instruments in general?
Yeah, so I mean, I've kind of always dabbled with instruments.
Hmm.
I started piano when I was 4 because I
Oh
used to
wow.
have like a toy keyboard
Hmm.
that I'd mess around with. So my parents were like, "Oh, she must, maybe she wants to do this." So
Hmm.
I did that for a couple years. I played flute actually in like the
Nice.
school band. My brother played sax and kind of did that. But it wasn't until I was probably like 10, 11 when I give credit to Fuse TV, which was kind of like Kerrang Scuds over there in the UK,
Oh,
where they used to play, all these cool bands and music videos and it was just eye-opening for me. So my parents did raise me on good stuff. They were always playing like, new wave punk and
mhm.
rock, whatever. But once you kind of turn a certain age and you're like discovering your own things, and it just
Yes.
like that was very eye opening. So that's, I think, even, just seeing like My Chemical Romance and Avenged Sevenfold and like bands like
Yes.
that, it made me be, oh, I want a guitar. So, like I got a guitar. I think when I was like 11 or something,
Mhm.
played guitar mainly as my main instrument for a few years until I eventually picked up bass and then fell in love with bass, and everybody always needed a bassist. So
Yes.
I think I just kind of ended up being a bass player, and now that's definitely my main thing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, what were the first bands that, completely blown your mind and you're like, whoa, like this is the best thing I've heard. This is what I want to listen until the end of my life.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely, I'd give credit to probably My Chemical Romance and The
Yes.
Used. Those are some of the big ones when I mean, because at 10 years old, like I'd never heard or seen anybody that sounded or looked like that. And I was like, what is this? This is
Yes.
kind of scary, but I'm really intrigued and like, what are they? I've never heard these sounds, like
Yes.
it's cool. So, I mean, it might be silly, but I mean, yeah, I would love to. And they definitely inspired me and, yeah.
Yeah. It's such a distinct experience. And what you've mentioned completely happened to me as well, because this band for me was Bullet for My Valentine. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I first heard a song from them, and this was my first touch with screaming music. And I was like, I'm terrified, but this is actually cool in a way that I can't really understand right now, but I really want to.
Yep.
So I guess it's always it's very interesting. I've been thinking about that. What's this thing that actually fascinates people interested in heavy music in it? Obviously there's a plethora of different things, but I guess the shock factor is a common thing, because what this music really does, especially in instinct reaction, is always to shock you. It's like a horror
Mm.
movie. You just have to have this sort of instant connection with it.
Yeah.
um
Definitely. And Bullet was definitely one of my like The Poison was such a
yes.
inspiring album. Like I'd say they were
Yes.
I was around 14 or 15 maybe when I got kind of more introduced a little later, but they were definitely one of the bands that kind of brought me more into like the melodic metal world for sure.
Yes. Yes, the moment I was referring to earlier was exactly with the Poison, and the
Mm.
first track, Her Voice Resides. If you remember how
Yeah.
it starts, it's just like
Yeah.
yes, and I'm like, whoa, this is
Yeah.
actually insane, and I don't know how I
Yeah.
feel about it, but she's just yeah. It's so just um, it's so interesting to talk about these moments. And I don't know about you, but I guess it's very relevant to you as well, because as musicians, as people involved in music, very often we get to a point where we kind of lose track on why we're doing things, and we get discouraged, and we get suspicious whether we have to keep moving forward. And I found for myself that just in this sort of moments when I reminisce about my first touch with music and developing this love is really helping me and, really inspiring me in a way. Do you have this sort of moments as well? And like, how do you deal with them if you do?
I mean, I think we're really similar in that way because I think most artists do, deal with the self-doubt at times and
Yes.
because it's not an easy route to go, especially in this day and age. Like, it's a lot tougher to quote unquote make it in the industry.
Yes.
And, it's just a tough industry in general. So, of course, there's times where you're like, should I be doing this? Am I doing the right thing?
Yes.
But I mean, it's like you said, you go back to those moments when you're 12 years old and like bright-eyed and,
Yes.
why you're doing what you're doing. And then you're thinking of how far you've gotten and you're like, oh yeah,
Yes.
I wish, I just want to high five my 12-year-old self, and it's a cool feeling. And especially when you get to see those shiny-eyed kids at shows, those are my favorite people to meet. Like, anywhere from like 9 to 15-year-olds that are, maybe having an interest in like doing what you're doing and then, seeing how much it means to them. And yeah, those are my favorite moments, honestly. So yeah.
Yeah. I actually do this sort of a method as well, the one you've mentioned in terms of, just comparing yourself at this particular moment in life with, your previous versions. And I guess this is a very good dynamic just to utilize because it really puts things into perspective. Sometimes we're just so focused on just achieving more and doing more and comparing ourselves even subconsciously with other people, and it's just insane. I guess it's just funny for me because it seems that not many people understand how just mentally exhausting is to just be on your top level game all the time.